Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Touring Kart Championship and its Challenge League. This evening, we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, like the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Pritz. Joining me in the booth once more is Brayton Laster, DJ Lyon working the controls as our producer. Brayton, as Kansas Speedway is known as an intermediate, it allows drivers an opportunity to utilize almost every lane of this racetrack. What can we expect to see here tonight?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, this is intermediate track, very unique. You see it there, 1.5 miles in length, but 17 to 20 degrees of banking. The front stretch are about 10 or 11 degrees, and the back stretch is coming in at about 5 degrees of banking. So there's banking all around this track, allowing you to use whatever lane you want. It has progressive banking as well in the corners, so you can really go up on the wall. We saw a lot of drivers in qualifying, those stick to the bottom, even though practice, the top is where it was at. So multi-lane racing, multi-groove racing, and for the first race for the round of 8, everyone is eager for a win.
And with that being said, keep in mind with it being that first race, the round of 8, here's what to consider when it comes to championship frontrunners for the races in Kansas, Michigan, and Martinsville. 7 Hawthorne has the top seed for this postseason round. Then Jake Ennis and Alex Penn are among some of the other favorites. Also doing well last round in some races, Matt Haas, Christian Leonard, Colin Grace, Christian Barker, Brandon Devine are below the cut line. And those eliminated last round, Owen, Aguilar, Giuliano, and Manger. Now keep in mind, you have to be able to get some wins here, or to say the very least, Brayton. It's going to be critical to do well this round.
That is someone that knows how to get wins. It's 7 Hawthorne. He has been dominant all season long. Has 4 wins. Is the leader when it comes to wins in the season. That's why he has the points lead with all his bonus points. 1 in the round of 12. We talked about Talladega in the last race, but didn't do so hot at Dover. And then I talked to him a little bit beforehand, and he said he had a lot of momentum, was really consistent, just kind of fell off there late in the regular season, and he really was able to pick up that momentum until Talladega. So he's looking to carry that momentum he got from winning last week, go into this round of 8, hopefully win. He's not very fond of Martinsville. He doesn't want to go in there and have to rely on points. If he can get a win here tonight, he'll be more than happy to do so. But we're going to have some strict competition coming in.
So currently drivers in the midst of preparations and qualifying procedures for tonight. A good portion of drivers coming in. Quitting a debut this time out. Jacob Maher is amongst those making the debut from the real world TKC. Bryce Hamrick also amongst the non-playoff drivers currently trying to get ready for today. Ryan Kapashian also amongst the non-playoff entries for Kansas Speedway this week. Now, keep in mind, TKC does have real-world racing since 2021 as a sanctioned competitive go-kart racing series that expands the karting community. We're holding rental kart sprint and endurance races alongside the Northeast Karting Challenge. Those compete at tracks such as Raceway Park, United Karting, Trackhouse Motorplex, as well as both indoor and outdoor venues. For more information, go to touringkartchampionship.com and register to compete. Brayton, you actually had something involving Trackhouse complex, in fact, I believe.
Yeah, Brandon Devine, we'll talk about him throughout the race. Coming off a real world championship, though, a couple weeks ago. So we'll touch up on that as we go on. But a lot of these drivers race in the real world, and just talk about making his debut tonight, Jacob Mayer. 4 drivers have won in their debut race in the series. 16 races, and 4 of them have been won by their debut, or drivers in their debut. So the stats are actually against him, and kind of looking at it, no driver has won outside of their 4th start. With Jake Ennis coming in at that, it was just his 4th start when he won. Everyone else has won in their 1st, 2nd, or 3rd start. So a lot of guys, if you haven't won already, they're kind of going to be, outside looking. Then Matt Haas, Colin Grace, 2 drivers here tonight, both in their 17th start looking for their first win. Christian Barker's in his 16th start looking for his first win. Brandon Devine in his 11th. Bryce Hamrick, so close just a couple weeks ago at Dover. One of the non-playoff drivers has been very competitive in the playoffs. 11th start for him. 7th. And then Ryan Kabashian in his 3rd start. But Jacob Mayer, though, on the pole.
Those drivers getting all set to go for tonight's festivities. Qualifying just about coming to a close. Kansas Speedway all set to see how the drivers race around it here today. Let's talk about, as these drivers finish up that said session in turn, how they plan to start out tonight. In total, we have a grand total entry list of 11 drivers here at Kansas Speedway. It's time to see which one of those can conquer a mile and a half. As mentioned, it is Maher on the pole with a 30.4. That's a couple of hundreds quicker than 7 Hawthorne. Jake Inez starts in third. He's got about 4 or 5 wins on the season. Alex Penn, the top 4. Christian Leonard, Bryce Hamrick, the first half of the field, Brayton.
Then they're going to have Matt Haas looking for his first one we just talked about in 7th. Ryan Kardashian had an awesome run in the TKC 500 going. Very new to this like intermediate style of racing, just iRacing in general. Big go-kart driver in the real world, looking to get some intermediate track time tonight. Colin Grace, one of the drivers, not in the playoffs anymore. Actually, that's a lie. He is in the playoffs. Apologize. And then Brandon Devine and Christian Barker running out the field in 10th or 11th. Colin Grace, though, one of the drivers, I think he's got a good shot tonight. He was very, I don't want to say he wasn't the fastest in practice, but had a lot of consistency, and we've seen him be there at the end of these types of races before.
That being said here, 100 laps in the race itself here today. So when thinking about it in normal fuel circumstances, you usually have it to be a one-stopper at this distance. Tonight, we'll have to see how the fuel limits really play into the strategy today. That being said, as the drivers roll their way around the racetrack, your keys to victory at the track, you're getting ready to race out of the rear world as we take a look at your race analysis.
Yeah, one thing about Kansas, it's so unique. It's so tricky to be great. It's easy to be good. It's hard to be great. You got multi-lane groove or multi-lane racing. You can run up by the wall, just run down low. Just kind of got to evolve with the track. I think that's one thing these drivers are going to have to manage tonight. Keeping tires under, keeping tires cool, especially in the Xfinity car they're running tonight. One mistake, one slip, one slide, and your tires are shot for the run.
Just about all set to go racing on a fairly cool Kansas Speedway circuit. Glad to have you with us here on Maconi Entertainment for coverage of TKC, the first race of the round of 8. The green flag's out, we're racing from Kansas City. And a great start for your pole sitter in the 48 machine. Maher continuing to hold up front. For the most part, single file, the name of the game for your top 4 as they all run different lines. Top line, in fact, for 3 of the top 4.
Now we talked about the multi-lane racing coming into the night. Everyone trying something a little bit different, trying to find something that works for them. Now we got battle for lead. That's Jacob on the bottom, 7 Hawthorne up top, inches from the wall, running the Homestead line. You gotta be careful up there. It can definitely be quicker, but can also be pretty loose. A lot of drivers got loose in practice and totaled their cars. You don't want to total as we come to the start of lap 3. 7 Hawthorne to the point.
And already Hawthorne trying to work within us on that top groove. Now keep in mind, I know it's very early to talk about, okay, how's the long-term run going to be in terms of tires here? But when you have one of the leaders preferring the bottom like that to start, it is worth noting that's a better line to save. Some people will argue. Others say, I like top groove. Meanwhile, all the grooves getting blocked to the back of the field. Caution flag is out on lap 3, coming to lap 4.
Colin Grace running just inside the top 10.
But that was quick.
A couple others. Actually, looks like it was Alex Penn who started that.
And was the last driver to set a time in the qualifying session itself. Grace already with significant damage. There are the fast repairs as seen on your race analysis. Brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop. So as the top 3 looked calm, Pack 2, not so much.
Yeah, they don't have that these types of races. Some guys are trying to take it easy, run the bottom, can kind of keep their tires cool, especially with the Xfinity car. You see it there. Yeah, Colin Grace arrives a little late to the party. Alex Penn and everyone else are already wrecking in front of him and nowhere for anyone to really go. But Colin Grace, unfortunately, getting the most damage of that. Alex Penn, that everyone else coming out fine. Looks like he's got drove through from behind. That was Bryce Hamrick that drove through him. But, I mean, keeping your tires cool, keeping, it safe, keeping the fenders on it. Now, this is a long race. You don't know when we're going to have a caution, unfortunately, that 3, that 4 there for early on for this one. But cautions aren't really a regular at these intermediate tracks, especially early on. We went 2 or 3 races in a row where we didn't have a single caution. So this might be an opportunity to come down and get tires. And fuel, from what I've heard, is only good for about 50-ish laps. So we'll expect green flag pit stops if this goes green. But you don't really want to have to pit every 20, 30 laps for tires.
Yeah, especially since it's going to be big for track position, obviously, but even more so, this is one of the tracks where it burns a little bit more fuel per se compared to the rest of the 1.5 miles, just by the sheer nature for whatever reason. That being said, as you've seen, Mayer amongst those who elect to top off. Also on top offs, Christian Leonard, Ryan Kilpatrian, Alex Penn did take a fresh set of tires because of the slide. Everybody else staying out to keep the track position, including Bryce Hamrick, who made some of that contact at the back end. So as some of the drivers get themselves resituated here, 7 Hawthorne looking to settle on in. We've seen him do really well at the Super Speedway last time out. What did he have to say before today, in your opinion? What stood out to you?
He didn't really expect to come in as a championship favorite. Not only the championship favorite, has the most wins on the season at 4. I mentioned that in the pre-race show. Next closest is Jake Ennis and Alex Penn, both have 3. Although 7 Hawthorne, despite having his 4 wins, has never started on the pole. Not a single time. So he's very glad to come in here as one of the championship favorites and looking to get a win tonight.
And with it being pace laps, all the drivers being told are clutch and coasting. That is a commonplace. I mean, why not save fuel under caution? You never know if you need the fuel. And it could be a 2 to 3 lap difference if you aren't clutch and coasting or shutting off the engine these pace laps.
Yeah, we mentioned about 50 laps is all you got for fuel. So you don't have to pit this one more time from here. But if you can go just a little bit later, have a little bit fresher tires. When it comes to the momentum and being able to carry good long run pace, that might be the difference if it goes green all the way out.
Coming to lap 7. Look to get back underway with the top 4 or so staying out for the restart. 7 Hawthorne off and away, back to green. And a good launch once again for the 18 machine up at the point. He's already up top side trying to work the lines with Ennis behind him.
7 Hawthorne knows how to lead the pack. Over 300 laps led this season, one of the highest in the league. Jake Ennis up and into the wall almost, trying to make up every inch of track he can get. Hammer going to settle for 3rd, not for long though. Here comes Matt Haas on the bottom. Haas isn't necessarily a great intermediate race. He's still looking for his first series win. He's going to settle right in that 3rd podium position though.
He's in the midst of the battle with Haas, as you mentioned. Hamrick shown some good speed in some of the starts we've seen him. Trying to see if adding a smiley face apparently will make the speed difference up at the top side. He's up to 3rd.
That winner non-playoff drivers trying to ruin the party. That was a big topic of discussion amongst drivers in the pre-race. Is you have all these non-playoff guys coming in, kind of ruining the show, taking points away from valuable playoff drivers. And last round it was kind of just show up and we're in. Now we got 8 hungry drivers trying to fight for every inch of real estate we got, and every point will matter in the end if we're going to eliminate half of these guys in a couple of races. You got these non-playoff guys like Hamrick though, kind of ruining the field for them.
I mean, counterpoint. That's kind of how the NASCAR playoffs work, right? Side by side once again. You can't just tell the entire field, you didn't make the playoffs, you get to watch on the sidelines for the popcorn stand. You get to stay home for 10 weeks. Bye.
Yeah, they definitely appreciate the guys coming and running with them, and it adds a little bit of spice to it. Have these non-playoff guys, they got nothing to lose. Some of these guys, they rack out and let the playoff run over. So we got guys like Bryce Hamrick coming in, you got Jacob Mayer and some of these other guys that really don't have anything to lose in the long run. Kabashi, another non-playoff driver, having a solid run. Absolutely singing it though for 4th. Doesn't have a whole lot of intermediate experience we talked about. Most of it coming in the rookie street stocks at Charlotte. He was a big point of discussion during the TKC 500. How he's been slowly working his way through the iRacing ranks, real-life kart racer. Has a pretty big TikTok following over at Kilbo Racing. So Ryan Sebastian one to watch. Is running on board with Jake Ennis, currently in second place.
Ennis keeping the pressure up. You've seen a lot of good speed from him. That's a little bit too much speed into the wall, and there goes his chance for now for the race lead. Everybody in the second pack looking to quickly take advantage. Here comes Divine. And also Divine line to the apron. Good on the short run with this car. Could be critical long run, because if you go down to that well too much, maybe. I've seen people spin out there.
That you gotta be careful with changing the lineup, and the track's going to definitely evolve and change as we go through the race and to get more rubber down the top, and the bottom and the middle might become a preferred lane, but you gotta be careful not to stay in one lane for too long. It's a safe move if you're a leader, but as we get going here, you'll try and make up room like Brand Divine, who's currently up 7 spots. He's changed his lane about every single time he goes in the corner, always trying to find something different. So far, he's making it work.
Still trying to find a way in the bottom side now, Hamrick. And the more they fight, the more they burn up the tires, cost themselves a little bit of time. Interestingly enough, speaking of time, remember how our pole sitter looked solid on the first lap, then got zipped by, and Mealy said after the caution, let's go in and top off on fuel. Maher is still in 9th and is losing ground right now. That's a big decline.
Yeah, he's only losing time. I mean, he just lost 6/10 at last lap on the 7th Hawthorne. So really struggling to get the momentum going, and maybe he's trying to save his tires. It's hard to tell. But he definitely doesn't have any of the speed he had in the practice. I mean, he was the quickest by over 10th in practice. So Jacob Mayer, though, debut race, not going so hot, but he still got about 85 laps or so to get back up front, try to make some magic happen. There's Matt Haas getting those squirrely up on the high side. Everyone's going to fly by him.
Back towards that battle. We're touching a little bit about Divine during the pre-race. He's in the midst of this battle still for the 3rd position. As they continue to shuffle out, you're talking about how in a lot of cases you have drivers race in the real world in multiple different disciplines. And that's what a lot of people may not think about, is a lot of times these drivers can be wheelmen, like Brandon Divine in real life a couple weeks ago, as you were talking about.
That's him at now Trackhouse Motorplex. Is one of the many venues that the TKC Series goes to. But Divine coming off a championship at the Supercharged Entertainment Facility in Edison, New Jersey. Won the league champion there, or championship there. Had a stellar performance. Actually has his banquet coming up in the next week or so. So he's looking forward to getting his trophy and everything. So he's one of the few guys, though, with real life experience, and might not be in stock cars, but it's definitely put a test here. He's up, as you mentioned, 6-7 spots and fighting hard for his 3rd place spot.
You know, the crazy thing about that statement, though, is a lot of the big names in stock car racing, where do a lot of them get background racing in? I'm not talking about just legend cars in NX Legends competition. Go-karts is one of the most common answers to that. In fact, drivers in eNASCAR levels now trying to move up the NASCAR ranks and try and get chances there. Vicente Salas comes to mind, a couple of the others. Some of your biggest names start off in go-kart racing, go nationally.
Yeah, that's a big background. Most here it's a common type of story. They go to a fun family center with go-karts, like the old kiddie carts, and like, oh, I'm hooked. And that's where a lot of these guys' racing careers take off. And that Supercharged Entertainment there in Edison, New Jersey, that Brand Divine raced at, it's according to him, the biggest indoor karting track in the world. So a lot of different opportunities there, and you saw him there podium at Trackhouse Motorplex. He races all over the East Coast, and he talked about kind of how bunched up it is, and said some of the competition there is just so intense. I mean, some of these guys, already have contracts to be some of the next big stars in a national level. So pretty cool to see some guys here in the TKC League getting their watching an early start. As we got their leaders, though, 7 Hawthorne, Jake Ennis in the wall. It's kind of fighting for every inch of real estate. Monkey see, monkey do. Jake Ennis, another driver, though, with real-life experience. He's coming off a 4th place finish in the mini stock series at Riverhead Raceway over there on the East Coast. So that's like a front-wheel drive Hornet division. We've talked about that throughout the series, but very avid competitor there. That's a part of the NASCAR, one of the weekly series they have, the mini stock division. So the driver coming up through the ranks as well, currently running second tonight behind 7 Hawthorne.
It's about a fifth of the way through the action this time by. The top two still holding on by a sizable margin. Now, that being said, in terms of all this, one of the main things to note when it comes to how the pace has been really settling itself across the racetrack, looking at some of the intervals and the times right now, your top two have been able to set fastest lap times up to a 2/10 quicker than the field. However, they're starting to fall back on average pace. Outside of maybe 7 Hawthorne being the quickest on the racetrack, Christian Leonard is a car to watch. The past few laps, he has been getting quicker as we've reached more than a second of fall off.
Leonard, I don't want to be rude here, but has been their basic bridesmaid for this entire season, it seems. 11 top 5 finishes and 12 starts, I believe. 6 second place finishes, only 1 win. So he's come so close so many times. Last week he got second. He worked real well with 7 Hawthorne, their current leader, though. At Super Speedways, most of the second place finishes have come right behind him. So Leonard trying to kind of break through. It's been a while since he's been able to find victory lane. So,
I was about to say, he did change up the paint scheme tonight to one we've seen a lot being utilized for a brand that's very popular out on the East Coast. Don't you love Wawa?
I had my first Wawa experience this past weekend, actually down at Daytona.
Really? You never had Wawa before then?
No, we don't have, they're not very big here in Indianapolis, so they're like actually nowhere near the Mid-East. I'm not in the Mid-East, I'm in the Midwest. So it was an alright experience. I didn't really get a chance to try the food or anything, but I'm looking forward to maybe going out there and figuring it out.
That's the appeal of it.
They had good coffee.
You had a coffee at a place where you can get sandwiches for less than $10.
You can get Def Pizza there?
I'm 99% sure you can get a pizza sub, yes.
Well, I'll have to look into that. I was too busy trying to prevent my girlfriend from stealing the Joe Logano cutout. She's a big Joe Logano fan, so.
How about some of the battles? You see some of the shuffling as trying to go to the inside divine. He has really fallen back.
Call that divine intervention, but really loose though. Really striking that rear grip. Maybe he's too focused on stealing a Joe Logano cutout. Maybe not. But these guys are all trying to figure it out, get some long run speed. Short run speed is not too fun. They do have most of the guys 3-4 sets in the pits if they need it, but you don't want to come down under green and take tires if you can help it. Like we said, fuel run though, about 23-ish lap run. 50 laps before I heard from the drivers in the pre-race show. Not sure how accurate it is. There's Devine though underneath Sebastian.
Scrubs the wall, and this is the battle for one of the backpack groupings here, and they are being uber aggressive for cars that have lost the toe of the main group by more than a second and a half.
So we're going pack racing because you got these 3 guys, Grace, Devine, and Sebastian, kind of all in the pack, buddy, and then Matt Haas and Christian Barker. Matt Haas has really fallen off after running inside the top 5. Got some damage, I think, early on. You see him struggling with his car going in the corners, kind of bobbing back and forth. But I mean, some guys are trying to make each and every line work, make something different happen if you can help it, and try to find something and go for it.
So back to calm they go for the time being. Same still being set for Hawthorne up at the front. Still about a halfway to the fuel run, give or take here. I will go, and as Leonard tries to slowly bring himself forward here into the picture in the Wawa machine, I will say you bury the lead. Why didn't you steal a Joey Logano standee?
Well, Miss Shelby, why did we not steal a Joe Logano cutout? She didn't want to go to jail, she says.
It's a cutout.
in Florida, they're very, very strict according to her and their laws, and it didn't matter because I didn't even race the next day, anyways. But I didn't want to go to jail the night before I was supposed to race.
Well,
it's funny because I DNQ'd for anybody listening.
I mean, it's a good reason. It's a good reason. It's a $30 cutout, but you never know because Florida. I guess you can understand that. So, Ennis is trying to get some clean air, keep in mind. In terms of the race car itself, though, making sure he doesn't get put into the box known as getting stuck in somebody's dirty air. And right now, he is slowly trying to chomp away with Leonard closing in.
Speaking of green flag pit stops, no, we weren't speaking of, I want to bring him up anyway. They have caught up to Matt Haas with a couple of seconds in front. I'm not sure caught up, but he is one lap down currently, but it just came down and took a green flag pit stop, get some damage fixed, fuel and tires, so he's still kind of bobbing back and forth. I'm not sure if he's having issues with the steering wheel or something still broken in that car, but Matt Haas really struggling here, and 7.5 of those guys continue to kind of close that gap. So lap traffic might become an issue that you don't have to deal with, but so far, the biggest or the closest battle is on your screen. See that battle is top 3 guys, all separated by about half a second. Then Bryce Hamrick in 4th and Alex Penn in 5th. Those two are about 4 or 5 tenths apart themselves. Everyone else is fairly spread out, but Sam Hawthorne, Jake Ennis continue to just have a slugfest going for the lead here. Both these guys have been in the wall, put themselves in the wall, following each other. But Sam Hawthorne's been out front and in command for most of this race.
Num, num, num at the pit goes the 19 machine. And this is right about where we start seeing cars get almost locked in. We already know the top line's the best line right now in these cars. You can't be running at the bottom of the racetrack if you want to make the pass. That being said, how can you make the pass without just saying, slide job, slide job, slide job? I don't think that's going to be practical here.
Nah, I mean, you're going to basically have to choose a line and stick with it, pick it and stick with it. And hope it sticks. You're not going to really have a chance to try it out and hope it, to have grip down there. And you slide up in front of that guy, that's time we're going to have to, hope they lift and don't turn you, or hope you don't step yourself in the wall and, really ruin your run. But you can make a clean move here. You got to be able to set it up. It'll take time. And we got plenty of time left. Still over 60 laps to go in this one. But also, green flag pit stops doing an undercut. I mean, like I said, I'm not exactly sure what the fuel window, if it's 55, 60 laps, you can come in, a couple laps before the next guy and make up a ton of time on new tires.
Alex Penn's making up a lot of time. Remember, he was on a bit of freshies, and the 99, who was running dead last before this point, is in the pit lane. Christian Barker was 16 seconds off the main pack. Looks like Barker's decided to come on down at 35.
I mean, if you're already running in the back, you might as well try something different. Talking to Barker, he came into this race second to last in the playoff standings, misses pit stop too. Well, they were talking before the race, and he didn't think he'd make it this far in the playoffs. He kind of got lucky, he said, with people not showing up in the round 12, was able to barely sneak in, and he likes his track a lot. He's just not really sure how competitive it's going to be, and going to try to change things up here with this green flag pit stop, one of the first guys to come on down. And he's not looking forward to Martinsville, though, in a couple weeks either, so he doesn't want to have to rely on that. On points going into Martinsville if he can help it.
And it looks like he's having an issue there, too, if he's already stuck in the box. It looks like someone else just entered the pit lane, too, at the other end, if I'm seeing this back right. Yeah?
Yes, with damage, heavy damage.
That is huge. Jake Ennis. What happened? That's the whole back of the race car.
Yeah, Christian Leonard got in there coming off the tee while we were too busy talking about Christian Barker. Christian Leonard left rhythm coming off the corner, and it's hard on the inside wall. Well,
what was the thing you were saying about going side by side, hoping somebody lifted, and then hope you won't get put in the wall? Did that just happen?
That's exactly what just happened. You see it on her stream. Leonard tried the bottom lane, just got tight, didn't have the grip he thought, and slid up into the track and pulled a slide job. And Ennis didn't really lift, give him too much room. Neither did Leonard. I don't know if he thought it would stick, and then just squeezed Ennis up in the wall. And you got two cars fighting for about the same 3 feet of real estate. And wasn't that bad. It kind of backed in the wall there and sent him flying across the track. So in an unscheduled green flag pit stop, able to come down though, take his fast pair some tires and fuel. Although currently actually behind Matt Haas on the track. About a quarter and a half behind, so he's not a lucky dog. So he's gonna need either to get up to Matt Haas and you'll get a lucky dog, or hope something happens with the way the green flag pit stops fall if they do.
You'll absolutely need a caution, because even with the timing of all that, he is still outside the estimated window at the top end for fuel. And now, had to wonder what's going to the mind of 7 Hawthorne. His friend Christian Leonard's already made contact with one trying to march up to the field. And these are teammates now that are 1-2 essentially. Now how do you play this?
I mean,
it's an important question.
Talking to 7 Hawthorne last week in his post-race interview, he was like, it'd be really awesome to get Christian up here and Victor Laney for one of these. And here it comes, Christian Leonard. We talked about these two being teammates, being friends. Leonard, though, the bridesmaid, 6 second-place finishes in the season, just a handful of starts. So trying to get a win here tonight, that would be very beneficial to his playoff standings, as he's actually the first driver out of the playoffs, only 3 below. Although that was behind Matt Haas, who currently runs in 9th, so he should definitely be in if the race were to end right now. But a win, being able to advance into the next round, go to the championship 4 automatically, is a very nice, I guess, benefactor to have going to Michigan and Martinsville.
Here's the speed difference on fresh tires, by the way. Christian Barker, having to serve black flag, is now back going. He's one of the last drivers, in fact, the last on circuit. He's given a lot of breaks for the battle for the race lead, but with the speed difference, it's really seen in the corner. Speaking of difference, wow.
Leonard going for the slide job, able to make it stick on the side of the track, into the wall. Hawthorne almost into the back bumper. It'll be 3 wide for the lead. That's Barker on the bottom, 3 laps down. Trying to get a lap back, and Leonard, though, to the point and into the wall and able to maintain it. 7 Hawthorne going to fall back to second. For the first time in almost 40 laps, 7 Hawthorne will not lead a lap.
That absolutely looked like Braden, though. That 7 said, hey, buddy, let's get you to the lead. I'm going to let you go. He was lifting halfway down the straightaway.
It kind of makes you wonder if 7's trying to start playing more strategic run. He's burning a lot of fuel, burning a ton of tires, but not having that clean air, that might be a difference. I don't know necessarily why he would let him have the lead. Obviously, to get a bonus point for leading a lap. So we might see these two kind of do some shake and bake and shuffle around just to let these two lead some laps. They have over a 2.5 lead to 3rd place. Bryce Hamrick and Alex Penny currently side by side for that battle. See them back there across the tri-oval. Actually almost touching going in the tri-oval. Hamrick and Penn, though, both running the high line, trying to make some magic happen, decide who gets 3rd. And Jacob Mayer, though, in his debut race started pole, we talked about him falling back. He is slowly but surely been catching your leaders about half a tenth a lap. He's still 2.8 seconds back, but he's catching the guys for 3rd, and he's found some late race speed.
He needs to find some speed, though, and quickly to gain more than that, with pit stops just around the corner. Estimated window for many of these drivers in about 6 laps' time. Hamrick's done a really solid job playing some defense here during this run. He had the contact that brought out the first caution, yes, but he's been able to hold firm at the top side. Drivers like Penn, even with the slide jobs, have just said, okay, I guess I'm just going to wait and see and then plan from here. Plot it out.
Now we're coming up towards the halfway point, still a couple laps to go. But I can imagine green flag pit stops will start to become a thing we're going to see more and more often. Barker, though, the gap that he's got almost half the straightaway already, just a couple laps, is pure speed. I mean, and Barker, no offense to him, was one of the slower cars on pace. He's running the last second lap when he came in. And he's still on a...
Oh, 7 to the wall. 7 Hawthorne hard in the wall. And he's forced to go to the inside to be able to pull that off the safer barrier. 7 Hawthorne has started to fall apart here.
Like I was saying, those two tires are about over a second quicker per lap. So you might see some of these guys, 7 Hawthorne, really starting to struggle on those old tires. You saw them go up in the wall. Might come down a little bit early, do some undercut action, try and make the difference. Might be the race winning difference. You see see the difference there. For reference, Christian Leonard's running about mid-32s. The rest of the field is about high 32s. And Barker, even on those now, I don't want to say new-ish tires, he was running mid-31s for a long time, now kind of falling off in the mid-32s himself. Like he's slower than the leader last time by, but for a long time there, he was over a second half quicker than their leader.
Yeah, I know that's a rough thing to mention there, but I think it's almost like the rhythm's off of the lap. That being said, the 48 is knocking on the doorstep for some moves. Slowly but patiently. Keep in mind, he's going to be able to go a little bit further as long as he doesn't go further than the wall like he just tried to right there.
Yeah, going the limits running. You're going to see guys not run up by the wall like they were for a ton early in this race. Because you're going a little too high, a little not as much grip as you thought, and you got that right front of the wall. It's only going to hurt you more. Running on board with Jacob Mayer, though, currently in 5th. He has caught Alex Penn and Bryce Hamrick, though. These two are continuing to battle hard for 3rd position. They're about 3.5 seconds behind their leader, though. So they're not going to catch him without a caution. Christian Leonard 7 Hawthorne has been in the class of the field. But Mayer has made about a second or so on these guys the last couple laps. And really reeled them in about 2 or 3 tenths quicker that last time by. Actually turning times quicker than their second place. The only one quicker than him is Christian Leonard, their leader. So Jacob Mayer trying to make some magic happen. Maybe still a podium, if not second place, if we can get there.
A touch bit of luck because the 4-second difference between him and the leader, obviously. But if it stays green, it could get interesting. Christian Leonard, you talk about pulling away once you get in clean air. This is an understatement. He is just gone in terms of his tempo right now. He is 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the entire field.
Yeah, that might come back to hurt him here in a little bit, especially the way that, burning up more tires in the long run. But having that clean air is a huge advantage here, especially in the Xfinity car. One thing to talk about is I'm sure we're going to see green flag pit stops start to become a factor here. This is a tight pit road entry. It's not the tightest we've ever seen. Atlanta with definitely one of the worst ones to get onto. But Kansas is not that far off from Atlanta. There's almost no run room. You just got to come off the corner at speed and lock it down and hope you don't go into grass. Hope we don't speed.
Looking back at the grouping, 4th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Penn has really solidified himself in the 3rd spot finally. After so long fighting with Hamrick to the point where they lost touch with the leaders. See just the throttle control. Right now that the 48 machine Maher has to have here to be able to get decent speed. You go too quick on the throttle, you burn up the right front. You go too slow on the throttle, it's like you're standing still. And let's keep in mind, he's still likely will need to pit one more time based on the timing of when that situation happened down the backstretch.
That currently in line for Lucky Dog, if we do get a caution, might be able to stretch through. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what the number is. But it's been about 17 laps since he pitted. So I'm putting back around lap, 38. 60-ish laps. It's going to be a little tight on fuel. We got one on the wall. It's Ryan Sebastian. Hard on the wall. Running in 7th spot. Coming off of turn 2. Just got tight. But some of this lap traffic, though, starting to become a factor. That I was right in front of Leonard. You saw him kind of have to make evasive maneuvers. Not going to hurt him too bad on time, but he's catching up to Christian Barker. He's currently 2 laps down, who flew by his guys just a handful of laps to go. He's got Brandon Devine and Matt Haas in front of them. Though Sebastian, though, that is going to move him into the Lucky Dog spot, waiting for him, Jake Ennis.
Pit stop time. 7 Hawthorne, Bryce Hamrick, both in. Hamrick has shuffled a little bit of the right side fenders in. Hawthorne has scrubbed all the paint nearly off some of the car. This is the money stop. Should be the only stops these drivers need to make unless there's a caution.
So lap 55, 7 Hawthorne, one of the first to come down for their assuming scheduled stop. They did pit on that lap 3 caution, I believe. I'm not
7.
Yes, correct. And then Brandon Devine, though, has been out there for a long while. So I see him pit. Matt Haas, though, he had that accident early on, came down about 27 laps ago. We shouldn't see him pit anytime soon. But it's going to shuffle guys like Sebastian, Jake Ennis, at least not Sebastian, but Jake Ennis that pitted already. He should shuffle back around to the lead lap. if a caution comes out, that might save him, but Sebastian still has to pit. Same with a couple other guys. I believe it was Ennis or Penn going around. I was out with Penn going around, but Leonard continues to stay out.
Yeah, keep in mind this is right about the time where it's important to think about the consideration of how big was the distance for the pit stop. It was one of the largest leads of the race, good 2 to 3, 4 seconds. And depending on how things flare out for time difference, that might allow Leonard a cushion in theory here, Brayton, of, okay, I can go an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 laps before I really have to panic about losing too much time and then breeze on by on fresher tires. He's in the catbird seat.
Definitely Ryan Sebastian coming on as well as Brandon Devine. Sebastian with a meatball flag. I think exactly that's what he's thinking. He's coming up with some lap traffic, though. We're going to have to maneuver around that skillfully if we can. But being able to have a huge advantage, I did 2 or 3 seconds by the time everyone started to pit. Here comes Christian Leonard, though. The leader slowing down, way down. Lucky no one ran him over. That's one of the slower entries. That might come back to hurt him, but he's going to have 4 or 5 laps fresher tires than the guys that already pitted, like Kevin Hawthorne, Jake Ennis, and those guys. So he should be able to navigate easier around him. Also, his fall off won't be nearly as bad.
Very curious about the entry, because here's the thing about getting the pit entry right. You do it too conservative, you lose 2 or 3 seconds. And that's going to cost them another half a second up to alone. You get a bad pit exit, that can cost you another 2 to 3 seconds if you play it too conservative. If you play it too aggressive, obviously you serve 40 seconds in the pit lane. Trying to see if we can get a look back at the entry. And here's the thing. You have to be able to know where the mark is.
That's the one thing I don't think no one really expected. I mean, see how slow he's going already on the bottom of the track?
That's a little early.
That's definitely the early sound. Might come back to hurt him. Not to see how he shuffles around. Actually just got passed by Bryce Hamrick. I don't know how the lap count's going. I believe Bryce might be getting his lap back. We're going to see as they start to come across the line here, how they shuffle. But I believe Kevin Hawthorne is going to be in front of him. Yes. Yeah. Kevin Hawthorne is over 5 seconds in front of him.
That pit entry just cost him that couple second buffer we just talked about. If you put it on fresh tires, he is going to be faster long run, keep in mind. But that is a big decision where 7 was more aggressive entry, not so aggressive the counterpoint from his teammate.
Yeah, 7 did exactly what I had to do to make the magic happen, and now Christian Leonard has 40 laps to now and gets around Bryce Hamrick, though. Alex Penn, I could just pit it, I believe he did. Yes, he's going to shuffle around back to a lap down. So Jake Ennis, currently the early leader, don't before he still has to pit. And Kevin Hawthorne is right behind him, actually right beside him on the bottom, coming hard, charging off a 4 side by side for the lead. Kevin Hawthorne's going to take the point, should easily pass Jake Ennis by turn 1, but now Christian Leonard just now crossed the line for reference. So he's got quite a bit of time to make up, over 4 seconds.
That pass up front, to be expected with Ennis on old rubber. But look at that interval, 10 seconds. When the interval's that big, and Penn, keep in mind, was within about, what, 2, 3, 4 seconds before the pit stop, that's a sign of he went too long.
Definitely possible. Look at that. I don't think he really planned for a green flag. I don't think anyone over here really planned for a green flag pit stop, especially a track like this. I don't want to say it's kind of, backhand material to just kind of know, but each track is different. Each track is, tricky depending on how it is. And this track is not one that's necessarily fond or too easy going when it comes to getting on pits at speed. So that's nothing I don't think a lot of these guys planned for. But it's going to be tight as far as being able to carry that speed and being able to carry it for 40 plus laps. They had a lot of pace early in this run, currently, or late in the run, currently less than 4 seconds of the gap.
It's not a doubt that Christian Leonard can get up there. He's got much fresher tires, meaning more corner speed with that offset of about 4 or 5 laps on tires. That being said, it's going to probably take until about 20 to go to get there. And you have to factor in the potential fall-off. If he burns up his stuff too much here, that could cost him. He was much quicker long run compared to everyone else, though. That's a big difference.
Yeah, we saw Seven Hawthorne dominate for about the first 45 or so laps, and then no one's really able to have anything for him. And Leonard went up past Drake Ennis, past Seven Hawthorne, and pulled away with ease. So Seven Hawthorne had a lot of like middle run speed, not necessarily having it now. About 6/10 slower a lap than Christian Leonard. Well, Leonard has some traffic. He's got Jake Ennis slow in front of him, Christian Barker as well. Both these guys on old tires. Barker going to bomb Leonard on by, but Jake Ennis going to put up a fight for second. Leonard to the bottom. We saw these two wreck early on. Ennis, I'm sure, doesn't forget, but go high, let him on by.
Looks like no chance for Ennis to try and do anything there on the old tires, as to be expected. Now the focus is on for the 19 to get to his teammate. He is trying to use the bottom and the top. Seeing Hawthorne try and do the same in the early going, despite most of the drivers preferring top early. We just seen moments ago at top of your screen, though, the temperatures have been going down and down and down. Not going to say the intensity has been heating up, obviously. But interestingly enough, with the amount of rubber buildup, the times haven't been going faster and faster and faster to counter.
And something too I want to bring up, we talked about Leonard, kind of bringing the heat to the table, turning the oven to high, 450 plus. He's out here baking cookies. The harder and harder he's going on these tires in the early run is going to hurt him terribly in the long run. I think we're starting to see that his times have dropped 2 or 3 tenths the past couple laps. Meanwhile, Seven Hawthorne's consistently been 31.8. So even though he was 5-6 tenths slower a lap than Christian Leonard, he's been very consistent, while Leonard has continued to fall off harder and harder each time and kind of not be able to close that gap as much.
We'll see how Leonard tries to rip the top side. He's got a third of the race to go to do something. Seven Hawthorne, remember the last time Leonard caught him? Hawthorne said, you know what, ole. Not so much ole here. This is where Devine's trying to hold off Hamrick now. They passed by Ennis. And right now they're getting very dirty with how they're getting close on combat. Devine, keep in mind, is a lap down. Not a lap down is Hamrick.
Ennis also driving that. He's going to go a lap down. Second, he has to make a pit stop. But we're at about 30 laps to go. Ennis might be able to go the distance. I don't think so. Most guys put it about 55 to 60 laps. That put him right at about 65. So I don't think he'll be able to make it on fuel. I'm sure he's out here hoping for a caution, kind of reset himself. Had to pit a little bit earlier than he wanted to thanks to Christian Leonard, but he's falling off hard though on those old tires.
Gap is down to 1.3 seconds. As projected, with about 20 to go, if not 25 to go, Leonard should be there. Now it becomes the question, does Hawthorne just say ole again? Or does he try and put up a huge fight? Better yet, what can Hawthorne do to fight with the big difference on speed here?
That Leonard talked about not very safe when it came to the playoff bubble. He should be in, but barely came in this race, actually below it. Talking to Seven Hawthorne too before the race, he said Christian Leonard is probably the hungriest driver out here in this field, one of the scariest ones to look out for. You know he's always going to be quick, you know he's always going to be consistent, and definitely the most deserving of a win as far as when it comes to being able to go out here and run consistently inside the top 5. So Leonard, though, trying to get a second win of the season so far, has the pace and momentum to do it, but just barely inside a second. It's going to be one thing to catch Seven Hawthorne, it's going to be another to pass him.
Under 30 laps to go, Hawthorne starting to give a little bit of space to the wall, interestingly enough. And Hawthorne doesn't look as comfortable compared to what we've seen Leonard do. Leonard, much deeper on the send. Hawthorne, much more flatter entry, diamond exit. Leonard, much quicker as here comes lap traffic in front of them. That's the 99 out of the pit lane.
Barker only let them by, but those new tires, we saw Barker fly by these two about 30 laps ago when he pitted a lot earlier than them for new tires. So Barker not putting up a fight yet, but when we supposed to see him come back later, Leonard's going to go around him on the outside easily. Just under 3/10 is the distance. He's caught him. He's got 25 laps to set him up. I say take your time now, burn the stuff up, running up there by the wall, and be smart about it.
That lap traffic does delay the pass attempt, possibly by a lap. Near contact to the wall for Leonard, tried to get the arc in, nearly put the fender into the fence instead. And now, all of a sudden, Barker's like, you know what, now I want to go. Now I don't want to go. Make a choice.
I think it's kind of amazing how much the closing rate he was through corner. Barker, we talked about it, not necessarily a driver with great pace tonight, kind of struggling a little bit. One of the drivers in the playoffs, though, currently running last 4 laps down. I think it's kind of having fun with new tires. You know, you can sit here and race your leaders. I'm sure they don't appreciate it, but Barker's out here having the time of his life.
Now he's side by side with the race leader, and now he takes away the line. Wow, this is to where it's like, at some point you just keep up on the radio and say, just go.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Seven Hawthorne do that, kind of let him on by, though. Barker not going to pull in front, and it's going to put Seven Hawthorne in dirty air if Barker runs his lane here. That's one thing Seven Hawthorne's not really been used to past couple laps. You know, Barker going to continue to stay on the bottom. Seven Hawthorne should have clean air and actually get a little bit draft going down the straightaway here. Going to delay Christian Leonard's attempt for the lead. Just a couple more laps. We're at 24 laps to go. Plenty of time to do it. But Leonard now looking on the bottom, side by side.
Leonard going to the inside. Hawthorne laying down to the corner. Still not even making the full rotation. Leonard tries the side draft. Pulls back the left rear fender. Leonard on the send. He looks to park it. A crossover back for Hawthorne.
Hawthorne had to check up big time there, not let Leonard necessarily come up and door him. Hawthorne back on the bottom, fighting with every ounce of aggression he can. And Leonard almost in the wall, the two almost touch, going in the corner, still side by side. Leonard with a send on the high side. Will be able to carry tons of momentum, should be able to pull away from Hawthorne. Hawthorne going to slide back up and settle for second place.
New race leader again, Christian Leonard. And no chance for the slide job back for Hawthorne. That's the big difference on the tires. About 5 laps the difference between their pit stints. Leonard's much more comfortable on corner exit. Under 23 laps to go in the race. Leonard looks to secure it.
Barring a caution, this is definitely Leonard's race to lose. So far, over a 3-second gap to Seven Hawthorne. Alex Penlow ends up winning that battle for third that Hamrick and Mayer were battling so hard for just a couple laps ago. Hammer continues to run inside the top 5 and 4th, and Jacob Mayer in his debut started on the pole. One of the quickest drivers we've seen as far as having a large margin of the field. Currently running in 5th, Jake Innislow still on the lead lap, yet to make his final stop, and Colin Grace rounds out the cars on the lead lap. Although he's got not many laps left. He's only about a corner and a half in front of Christian Leonard, so Leonard will be catching him soon.
Now, that being said, remember how that interval was a lot bigger for Penn with him going far? And how, in theory, usually that's a sign of too far back because the equalization point, usually on the tire wear. He's gained 7 seconds on these two, I just noticed, in the past while. Where did he find that speed? The 30 wasn't even close to this earlier.
You bring up a great point. We were too busy kind of watching these two go at it that we didn't realize Penn was chasing their leaders. He's kind of fallen off pretty close when it comes to same lap times, but he pitted a lot later. He was the last car to pit, actually, about 2 or 3 laps after Christian Leonard did, so able to kind of carry that new car momentum while Leonard was dealing with lap traffic and burning up his stuff. But it seemed to kind of leveled it off, like we were talking about, kind of equalize a little bit. And though, unless a caution happens, I think Leonard, Hawthorne, and Alex Penn, this should be your top 3.
Be a good points night for 3-year championship frontrunners. Not a great one at the rate for Ennis. Others still trying to coast along. Matt Haas has not had a great night either. He changed up some of the logos tonight. He said, you know what? Let's be Lewis Hamilton tonight. So far, that doesn't seem to be working.
I think he's talking about Lewis Hamilton in 2023.
I think some people get sad when thinking about that. The funny thing is, it's his last year, believe it or not, in that certain open wheel in a world championship team that races on yachts. Yeah, that's close enough to the description, right?
That's a pretty good way to put it, I'd say.
Up front, Leonard, under 18 to go. And for Christian Leonard, I think this kind of goes again back to the teamwork makes the dream work thought. It came into play with the TKC 500. It came into play last time out at Talladega. It's kind of part 3 of let's go 1-2 again.
You want to know the last time Christian Leonard won a race? We're going to have to go back to 2023, November 13th. Early in the season, Christian Leonard qualified 3rd at Auto Club and brought it home 1st. Meanwhile, he's gotten 5 second-place finishes. He got 2nd place at Daytona, but then he won a couple weeks later. 2nd at North Wilkesboro, 2nd at Darlington, 2nd at Charlotte, 2nd at Chicagoland, 2nd at Richmond, 3rd at Talladega, and a 3rd at Vegas as well as Atlanta. So he's been in the podium almost every single race. Actually, there's only 3 races he hasn't finished in the podium. That was Watkins Glen when he got wrecked, Dover when he had some misfortune, and he finished 4th at Bristol.
It's been that type of a season when it comes to the 19 machine. Oh, wow. Speed's been there. Usually there's just been that 1 car difference, or it's a super speedway. Penn, as we've noted, started to have equalization earlier. He's fallen off, so take him into the equation to be able to get there unless there's a caution. That's got to be the one hope, right, is do the green flag dance. You heard about the caution dance. You've heard about the rain dance. If you're Leonard, you're doing the green flag dance, which is don't dance.
I can't say I've heard of that, but I will remember that for the first time I'm ever leading an ARCA Menard Series race. I happen to have a 12-second lap on the gap on the field on pure talent, I'm sure.
Your odds on leading in your first race at Kansas this season?
I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know about leading as we got a little battle for the lead, but we got some lap traffic. Christian Leonard having to navigate around Colin Gray should easily get by him. Gray's hard up in the wall, gonna allow Leonard to slide on by. But the first ever race at Kansas for me. Very excited with Rise Motorsports, who is arguably the smallest team in the garage. So we're looking forward to kind of going there. We got 3 top 10s with them last year. Their first top 10s as a team, my first top 10 in the ARCA platform. So looking forward to hopefully going to Kansas, having a good run. We're going to be outmotored, out-equipment, outgunned, outmanned. But we're going to have a good time and see if we can make some magic happen.
And by the way, staying with them in about 4 seconds.
Another thing we won't be out is the fire extinguishers. We'll have plenty of fire extinguishers on hand.
So, wait. Are you saying you're expecting the car to catch on fire?
No, but if I have to throw it through somebody's windshield, I can.
Oh, so ARCA. Have you ever had a fire extinguisher actually thrown at you from a race car?
I have not, but I've back in my grassroots days, I did take a confetti launcher and throw it at somebody's car from inside my car. I had it in my car. That's Christian Barkalow, going 3rd, 4th lap down, and then easily going around him. Now I carry around a fire extinguisher, not fire extinguisher. I carry around a confetti launcher in all my my grassroots cars. So if I win, I stick it out the window and I shoot it.
10 laps to go as Braden Laster explains how grassroots racing is like Mario Kart. After all, where else can you also fire confetti at your opponents instead of turtle shells? So far, Leonard... Yes, that too. Maybe some pumpkins. For Leonard so far, he's hoping none of that happens. He hopes no one throws anything out the window.
Mark Martin to get that fire extinguisher ready, stick it out the window to bring out your caution, just like he did many years ago. I believe the story was he was leading a race and stuck it out. Caution! Oh my lord!
Oh no! Someone threw something on the track.
It was Matt Haas. He hit a banana peel on the front stretch, coming out of turn 4. And just like Lewis Hamilton in 2023, we've been. The commentator.
Yes, indeed we have. The commentator's curse remains undefeated. Wow, that's definitely not what Christian Leonard wanted to see. Yellow, 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 and Divine had to slam the brakes to make sure he didn't join that.
He made sure he didn't want to join that because he was a first car lap down. So I imagine everyone's going to come down and pit. Jake Ennis and Colin Grace, ironically, had just come down and pitted less than 2 or 3 laps to go. So I imagine all the lead-up guys will come down and get new tires, and that will allow Ennis Low to get back on the lead lap by virtue of a natural wave around. And Divine will also get a lucky dog, I imagine. Also in the past, they've waved around these guys before, so I won't be surprised if everyone gets back on the lead lap here. But it's less than 10 laps to go. And Leonard now, who not necessarily has had great short-run pace, looking back at the first start, now all the guys are going to come down and pit. Going to put him in a bit of a challenge here.
Expecting 4 tires. There's a lot of tire sets available in the pits, mind you. No major mistakes on the slide through the boxes here. Does anyone risk something different? There's not enough cars, you'd think. No one else stayed out unless it was for a wave around on the racetrack or lucky dogs. Here comes the race itself. 1-2 for the teammates. No changes. In fact, the entire top 5 stays stationary. Let's take a very quick break. Coming up towards the final restarts, you're watching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of TKC.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Kansas as we get ready for the restart. About 5 laps to go here in Touring Kart Championship League playoff action. Justin Burns alongside Brendan Laster, DJ Line producing as we get set to get back racing. In fact, Light still on top of the iRacing pace car, intriguingly enough. So it looks like we'll have, by the time we get back going, about a 3-lap shootout here. This is not what Christian Leonard wanted to see. We fired too much confetti on the racetrack. That's all we can say.
Those magical debris cautions, and some guys actually going to get a wave around. Sebastian, Colin Grace, Christian Barker, those involved getting a wave around. Matt Hoslow, not. Which is kind of odd because he's 3 laps down, but also the cause of the caution, so I understand. So, This is going to change everything up with everyone being back, roughly almost everyone on the lead lap. It's go time. You're on fresh tires. Send it or don't. It's your choice, but they're only going to have 2 or 3 laps when we get back going racing here.
So, as they say hi to Benny the pace car driver, it leads to the question, how do you make the move for this win? We've seen on the restart, we've seen on the initial start, the top line be very dominant, but now it's time for the race win itself. How does this start go, to say the very least, to get the chance to take the lead?
I think you take a book or a page out of Christian Leonard's book and you throw the slider.
And you get in, how do you get the position for the slider though?
You try to set yourself up in a good spot, get good momentum on the last lap. We're going to be going green with about 3 laps to go. We got green light checker if we need them. But be able to kind of get in pace. You can't run the same line as him. If he's going to go high, just send it up on the bottom or send it down the bottom. Hope he lifts. Hope you carry enough momentum and hit the wall and bounce off it just right. And everyone's going to have a good amount of grip here, so a slider won't be too drastic. You shouldn't necessarily slide up and destroy yourself, but it's Kansas. Anything can happen.
So 9 drivers have a chance for the win because there are just the 9 on the lead lap. 2 drivers are 3 laps down. Barker and Haas are both 3 down apiece. So now, how will this go? This is a huge break for Ennis too. He starts inside the top 6 with the time of the caution flag, and with him being in position to get the new fresh tires on the car. 3 laps to decide for Kansas. More than 5 miles to do it. Field in the hands of the inside line of Leonard. Green, green, green. Back to racing, and a great start, a perfect start.
Alex Penn, 7 Hawthorne side by side for second. Leonard, though, still the leader. The winner of this race will go for a championship in a couple of weeks. That's what's on stake here. You can not have to worry about Michigan or Martinsville. Alex Penn to the quarter panel of Leonard, going in the 3 side by side for the lead.
Can Leonard play the defense? Can Alex Penn get the slider down? 2 to go. Here comes the help from 7 Hawthorne on the bump. He tries to help his buddy. Can he clear Penn for second? Just about.
Still side by side for second. Leonard able to pull away. No one besides 7 Hawthorne, Alex Penn, or Jake Ennis has won since January 1st. Leonard trying to change it up. He's got under 3 miles to go.
Will Hawthorne try and go for a slider herself? Looking to back it up. Here comes Hamrick trying to be play-up spoiler. 3 wide as they come to the white flag this time by Leonard. Tries to hold on. Hawthorne tries to find a way to close.
2.5 temps. Hawthorne running up by the wall. Leonard a little bit low. Now going coast up, kind of down in the corner. Hawthorne does. Trying to get a big run. He's got some decent momentum coming out of 2. It's the last lap. If we're going to try anything, try it now.
Doesn't look like it's close enough. Leonard goes very deep into 3 and 4. Plays defense to the bottom side. Hawthorne tries to launch from the high side. Not close enough. Welcome back to victory lane. Christian Leonard, no more bridesmaid. He's to the final 4.
Christian Leonard going for a championship run. Came into this race outside looking in, and now can kick his feet up, step back, and sip on some margaritas, going to Homestead.
7 Hawthorne makes it a team 1-2 essentially up at the front. Leonard had the outright pace the second he got up there. He didn't look the best to start. But once he got footing in this race, he got footing and ran. So this moves Christian Leonard on in the postseason, as mentioned. He was the 5th placed car coming in. So the pressure is on now at the bubble. Pressure is off for Christian Leonard. Unofficial race results, post-race interviews, and more coming up. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Kansas for post-race coverage for TKC as the round of 8 kicks off with a bang. It's Christian Leonard who is able to get his first win since the 4th race of the season. 5 times he was a bridesmaid. 2nd place before this run tonight. Now he's in the championship 4. 7 Hawthorne, Alex Penn, Jacob Maher on debut, finishes in 4th. Bryce Hamrick the top 5. Ennis, Devine, Kelbashian, Grace all finish on the lead lap. And it was a rough time for a couple others, Christian Barker, and a big one for Matt Haas because he came in as the 4th place car in the standings. That's obviously going to change with him being last place here in this National Series event. We'll go 3, 2, 1 here as we get set to talk things over with the drivers. First things first, let's talk things over with Alex Penn. He tried to get some chances on that restart. Instead, it's still a top 3. Alex, describe the race here tonight in that final restart.
Yeah, final restart especially was pretty fun. It was a little dumb of me to try and go for the bottom after, we had, 80 laps of seeing that the bottom really wasn't working. But, I mean, kind of have to try it in the playoffs especially, try and get that win. Didn't quite work out. Glad we were able to maintain 3rd by being able to get back up to the top. That helped a lot. Overall, the race was pretty fun. We didn't have a lot of time to get the car dialed in. I think I jumped into practice with about 10-15 minutes left, but things just kind of worked in our favor. Kind of sad that Jake had his issue earlier on in the race. He probably would have been pretty fun to race around. But overall, I think it was a pretty good race.
In turn, though, what did you pick up as the race went on? Because,
yeah, don't use the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that,
there was a couple of ways that you could try and force somebody down to the bottom. If you could get a good runoff 4, that was the best way to do it. You can kind of peak your right front or your left front above the top of the guy going through the tri-oval and kind of force him down there in a sense. That worked a couple of times. Another huge thing was just saving tires. That came in big tonight.
Next time out is Michigan. How do you feel about MIS?
I feel pretty good. Last time I did a league race there, we ended up winning, which is a good sign. And that was based on strategy. So I'll have to take a look at our lap count for next week and see what we can work in terms of strategy and see if we can get another win there.
Any shout out I could give here tonight?
For sure. Definitely you guys for putting on the broadcast, TKC for putting on the whole league, the guys over at Cornerstone for teaching me how to drive the Xfinity car, and Skip Barber Racing School who were on the car tonight for teaching me how to race.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 here tonight.
Thank you.
That's Alex Penn coming on the podium here today. Second spot. He's currently going over some race film, in fact, with Christian, but breaking up the film session is Brayton.
7 Hawthorne, we talked a little bit beforehand. You talked about how you didn't think you'd come in tonight, the championship favorite. You leave here with a second place finish after leading 55 laps. Actually, in 14 starts, this is your first second place finish all season. Talk us through what you needed to beat Christian.
Yeah, honestly, I just needed a better jump on the restart there. The bottom line, it was just the top was so dominant that if you even looked at the bottom, you would just get past. So I knew I was going to be in trouble on the restart there, and I tried to fire off with the 19, but I also didn't want to get a black flag, so I tried to be safe. And I thought I hit a run for him on the outside, but I would have shot low, but it was too many cars behind me, and it risked too many cars could have passed me if I went to the bottom. So I just decided to ride high and take the safe route. And congratulations to the 19 car. He's finished second, and Lord knows how many races. So good to see a teammate win the race and get a good point stay here.
This was he had 6 going into the night and 5 since his last win. So definitely awesome job from him. I know you two work closely together. You talked about a little bit beforehand. We talked about it on the broadcast. You don't want to go into Martinsville having to rely on points. Coming home, you should be second behind Christian in the points battle. As far as Michigan and Martinsville, though, what are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to?
Yeah, Michigan is it's going to be similar to Kansas. Dirty air is going to be a thing there since the throttle time is so hard, but Michigan is multi-groove, so drivers will be able to search, move around, and find air. So I'm excited about that, and I'm going to look at Michigan as a must-win. I really want to go out there and win Michigan because I don't want to end up at Martinsville in a point situation. I'm not sure the exact points, but I know we're sitting pretty good on the cut line with a second place. So all we got to do is just keep the momentum going, and we'll be the homestead.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your second place run. Anybody would like to thank it tonight?
The 19 team, the 18 team, all these Toyotas, they build fast race cars every week. Happy that I get to be here and do this. Thanks to all my family and friends that watch, and TKC and Maconi for putting this on for us.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations on your second place run. Hope to see you in victory lane once again soon.
Thank you.
That was 7 Hawthorne. Once again, your second place finisher tonight. Led 55 laps.
First place today, though, going the way of his pal, Christian Leonard. His first win since Auto Club. 5 times finishing in second place before tonight. Finally break through for the first time in a while, Christian. Talk us through how this feels to be a part of the Championship 4 with this dub.
I'm glad because I did not want to have to go through with Martinsville and Michigan. Still trying to fight my way in. It's nice to be able to be locked in, go to Homestead, especially with both Kansas and Homestead being mile and a half, being able to win in a long run, be able to put it up against the wall and not wear the tires out and not hit the fence. I think it bodes pretty well for my championship chances.
What in turn seemed to work for you tonight in terms of you were the fastest car in the long run. You were going over film actually with 7 before being brought in here, as well as I think with one of the fellow drivers. What was that film session talk about with that pace, or what was that about?
Film session was just looking back at my contact with the 25 car. I'm not going to say it was an accident. It wasn't intentional, but it was something that I wasn't really trying all that hard to avoid. I feel a little bad for it, but I've had numerous times on this service, especially over the last several weeks. I don't know what it is, but people getting in the wall in front of me and then trying to go and race me down to the next corner. And with it being Kansas, the dirty air is absolutely horrendous on the outside. I'd caught the 2 of them by like 3 seconds and 10 laps. And I knew if I stayed behind him, he was just going to completely burn out my tires. And he told me during the race that he was trying to just burn out my tires. So I knew if I didn't get around him there, then I wasn't going to get around him. And it certainly didn't help that the service registered contact before I even got to him. And then that kind of put him in the wall and slowed him down to where I actually did hit him. It was unfortunate, but the way I see it is if I don't get around him there, I probably don't win the race. And the reason I got 5 second place finishes is I've cut a lot of people, a lot of breaks, him included. And I wasn't going to let this one slip away tonight.
Well then, on that point though, what's now the approach knowing you're locked in, but you still have 7? Who needs to find a way to get locked in?
Well, I certainly am not going to race him very hard at all. There really isn't a whole lot of team orders that can happen in NASCAR, but I'm certainly going to do what I can to help him out. Not that he needs my help. He's really quick on his own, but just try to maybe make it up to Jake, help him out maybe at Michigan if I can, cut him a break or two. Try not to make any more enemies than I already have going to Homestead, and then probably just try and relax, try and gauge where my competition is, and practice as much as I can for that Homestead race.
Any shuttle show I could give after the run tonight?
Once again, thanks to 18. He really helped me on the restart, pushed me on a couple of straightaways that I got loose on. If it wasn't for him, we probably would have both gotten eaten alive by the field. Also, want to give shout out once again to TKC for putting these races on. They're really fun. And for you guys for broadcasting the show. The broadcasts are always great.
Well, thank you very much for the time. Once again, congratulations on the win tonight. You're in the Championship 4.
Thanks, guys.
Christian Leonard getting the victory tonight. I'd like to thank him and the rest for top 3. To take the time to speak with us. You're in post-race coverage for TKC as we get set for Michigan. Brayton, that should be a wild one next time out. Your thoughts, first of all, on this race tonight?
Tonight was an excellent showing of talent, skill, and endurance. I mean, a lot of guys were running up by the wall, getting in the wall, and being able to kind of persevere and get every point they can is going to be beneficial to a lot of these guys when it all comes down to the wire at Martinsville. And going to Michigan next week, a lot of guys don't want to have to go to Martinsville in a playoff bubble with points. They want to be able to win next week and kind of cruise on through Martinsville. So sure, every ounce of real estate that you saw tonight will be taken and accounted for by these drivers.
But with that being said, how do you expect the race itself to play out at MIS in turn then?
I think we're going to see a lot of good close racing, a lot of fender-to-fender racing, multi-grooves like Michigan's known for, and a lot of speed. Michigan, one of the quickest tracks they go to. So I'm sure guys like we're going to be too fond on each other, going to lean on each other, making every pass, every move, and every lap count.
But once again, remember, next time out, next Monday, March 4th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. As we get set to say goodbye, I would like to thank you, Watch Your Lawn as well as race sponsor Maconi Setup Shop, and our broadcast partner, the Touring Kart Championship. Calling the action tonight, myself, Justin Prince, alongside Bryson Laster, DJ Live was in the production booth, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. We hope you stay tuned to all of our social media pages for our next race. Thanks once more to the entire staff for bringing in this racing to you this evening. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time. Congratulations once again to Christian Leonard, your winner from Kansas City.